Hi. Um, I'm gonna try and make a video and see how it goes. Again, I already tried to make this video, and the YouTube wouldn't let me upload a video over 15 minutes, and so I increased the limit, but fortunately the video did not save. So, well, I am an INTP 4 Wing 5, and I'm going to make a video about what it's like to be that type, at least those two types. I've heard it's pretty rare, at least. Not that that's anything that, um, I mean, my FI is almost as strong as my TI on cognitive function tests. Like, weirdly, my four highest functions are TI, FI, SI, and NE. So I have three introverted functions. It doesn't make any sense. Though I've heard online tests don't distinguish very well between like SE, NI, and SE, but um, I'm still trying to find like a passion that gets my blood boiling, and I can like right now I'm doing neuroscience, which is very interesting to me, and I'm good at it as so far as like careers go, and it seems like a good choice. I mean, there might be it might be better for me to major in like a hard science, but and then go to grad school and do neuroscience. So I'm still kind of making my mind up on that. But um, I also love like philosophy and languages, like Greek and Latin. But the only practical path that leads from philosophy to grad school is law school. So both my parents do that. I have no interest in doing that. Pretty much, I mean, I guess one of the questions that anybody would ask in a video like this, where you say how your type, what your type is, what it's like to be you. I mean, I like being me. I don't know. I guess everybody would say that, but I relate to both 5 and 4 Enneagram types, but some things just don't fit for both of those. Like, for example, I'm not as negative as some of the descriptions of 4s. Like, I'm not that serious. I'm not always a serious person. I mean, I also like concrete and physical things more than 5 descriptions seem to. But I score a tiny bit higher on 5, on the 4. Sorry. Um, and then the next one was 9 after 5. I also consistently get higher on the T than F, but I also get high FI and other things, NI, SI, and high TI or TE on the cognitive function test. So um, I'm not unusually. I mean, I'm kind of well-rounded though, since being at the border of this. Like, I'm not unusually good at any one. I tend to be better in the maths and sciences, but I'm still sort of around that border. But one of the things that I'm definitely introverted most of the time, but sometimes I wonder if like I turn into an extrovert sometimes, but um, I'm just not good at like keeping friends, and if it's just like that drains me, and not actually interaction. I don't know, but I'm definitely introverted, definitely intuition. I'm not very practical. Well, I mean I am, but I am in certain things. Like, I have a few things that I do. I like to rock climb, and I really like skiing. backcountry skiing, but just a few things that I do that aren't in the academic field or that sort of thing. I don't know. I've been really isolated since I moved to a single room, and most people I've interacted with, like last semester, were people on my hall, and I don't have anybody next door, and I haven't met the people down the hall, though I have heard them every weekend. Partly why I haven't reached out, I guess. I also kind of like being in a place where I don't have to know anybody, but still, I haven't been trying that hard to find people with similar interests, which is something that, since I am probably transferring to William & Mary for next fall, I've actually become like somewhat unconsciously like avoiding people, like not at all consciously, but I don't know. I feel like I've somewhat been doing that. I've actually become more sure of my types recently since I took the official RETI and did some research. Now I'm sure of being a 4-wing 5. I also settled on INTP for my Myers-Briggs type, and the reason I thought I was an INFP was because I thought my TI was actually FI, which I've read that FI can look like TI. No, I read that TI can look like FI, and I think that's where I was mistaken. But I've learned more about the functions and how TI can look like FI in certain cases, especially when TI is pretty weak. And mine, when I take the regular Myers-Briggs, I usually get about 15% on the thinking. So I guess I've seen different 4 descriptions, but most of them seem to be describing unhealthy 4s, and seems that these descriptions that seems from these descriptions that the pinnacle for existence is being an artist of some sort, which doesn't appeal that much to me. I wouldn't say that I relate to the healthy 4 because of the artist part, or the maybe the I think or the unhealthy, because I think I'm pretty much average as far as that goes, and I'm not sure that people are all that different relating to type when they're unhealthy. Or I mean, I feel like unhealthy people are going to be unhealthy whether they're 4 or 2. And sure, it manifests differently. Or the idea of your type getting unhealthy, that just seems weird. Seems a little absurd. I understand that Reason and Hudson are getting at more or less. I would probably have to say that I've been unhealthy at times, but right now I'm pretty healthy for me. Probably average on that scale. It's not that I wouldn't like to be creative in a way that opens up a feeling or insight into some abstract yet like sublime feeling or concept. And I can't see anybody caring about what I've done or what I can be doing in a way that's unique until I've, I guess, justified myself like in an objective achievement. Like, for example, I can see myself doing something in line with like mathematicians and scientists who first became scientists and then became philosophical writers or innovators in a completely new art form. Like, that's sort of things that I would really, I don't, I doubt myself in that regard. Like, I don't always think I'm capable of revolutionizing anything, but that's sort of what I dream to achieve. Um, as for movies, um, any movie that inspires me and gives me that like achingly beautiful sense of awe, but sort of in an unemotional way. Those are the movies that always make me cry or leave me feeling empty, or I mean not so much empty, just that feeling prolonged past the end of the movie. I don't know exactly how to explain it other than something to do with feeling the vastness of the universe of a certain. I mean, it's not just in movies. It's like, um, well, it does present itself in movies. It usually presents its like one movie I had in mind was the ending of Prometheus, but I'm sure there's better examples. Like that movie had mixed reviews and it's a little cheesy, but I guess that's kind of the stuff I like. Also, in the same sort of genus is the emotional version of that, which might present a similar sublime feeling of possibility, such as the ending of Garden State, which where they where he just says, "What do we do?" It's that possibility of of anything. But I mean, in a relationship, in that sort of, I don't know. But that tonight, I mean, that's just, I always just sort of pray that completely intense but completely absorbing, like I can get that from conversations too, where both people just lose track of space and time. I get into those moods where I want something so badly, but I know it's something that isn't real. Anyways, I've heard that 4-wing 5s and 5-wing 4s are the most introverted Enneagram types. Yeah, it's definitely tough to force myself out of that shell when I would rather just conserve my energy. And I can force myself, but mostly I just don't like people very much. I keep telling myself I just need to find the right people, but even when I do, we just don't click, and I wonder if there's anybody out there for me. My TI, introverted thinking, will always be there to point out what's missing or why I'm not good enough, and that, yeah, being a 4 INTP explains a lot, but it's not the most reassuring explanation or description, especially nasty for the unhealthy types. I've never read one particularly for INTP 4s, but you get the idea from the 4-wing 5. So college has been interesting for me. I mean, when you get past the roommates from hell and shit food at D Hall, how do I find it? I found it as hard finding where you belong in a friendly. I mean, it's like a friendly or die environment. I found that my first year is eye-opening for me though, and I've learned a couple of things about myself and being myself and being alone. As much as the part of me without censor, just I do like solitude, and I'm when I just get nervous and about what I'm saying, or I say so little. I say so little when it comes out. It like when it comes out, it all comes out. Well, I mean, not that that happens very much, but I imagine that happening in my mind. So, yeah, at first I thought I was an INTP, which I actually am, and INFP, and back and forth. So, I do feel so much, and I couldn't fathom that I was one of those cold and barren and INTPs. And what if I was? I just couldn't take denying myself my feelings like that. I realized, though, I mean, not everybody's is in every type is the same. Everybody's different, though. That's something I've always known. Um, I'm not sure if I can ever think about it like, like everybody's different, while also thinking about categorizing people into types. It's quite contradictory when I think about that. But I think about how that very categorizing has at least made me feel that not everybody is evil or beyond comprehension. Um, I do think about psychological type too much, and sometimes I hope it just becomes something I don't think about. But it has helped me to think about people in a comprehensible manner. Same with Enneagram, maybe more so with Enneagram. Um, I would love to talk to another 4-wing 5 on Skype or face to face, or just soul to soul communication, direct. I don't know. I'm scared though that I'm scared with anybody that I'm not funny or interesting enough, and I felt this way with most of the people whose personalities I even admired or could relate to. Or I'm scared after having said some of my feelings of having been judged on them face to face. I'm tired of editing myself down to nothing and thus being nothing to other people. I don't believe I've ever talked to another 4-wing 5 face to face before. No, I suspect they can be quite a disguised bunch, and low key, such as myself. Sort of had a rough semester. Not really anything in particular, just learning to be self-sufficient with feeling like something wasn't quite right or up in the air. I tried different groups of friends my first semester, but I didn't find any that I felt I belonged with or wanted to spend any time fitting into, so I spent most of my time alone. First I hang out with the people on my hall, but I got bored of all but 2 or 3 of them, and I think that I was kind of a loner more than before in my life. This semester's sort of been different, and I've been a little bit more social, maybe because I have a single room and I can recharge my batteries. Yes, you'd be right that I can relate to being shy and having trouble finding like minds. My roommate wasn't so bad, but our schedules didn't sync, and I found myself irrationally disliking him, just glaring at him for being in my space. Or if I had to guess, I would say that he's probably like an ISTP or a 6-wing 7 SX slash SSSP. We didn't click, but we didn't click. Sorry, but we didn't have very much conflict. He wasn't very conscientious as a P, but I feel I can easily be influenced by that, and mostly I still focus on school and learning in my major, and I go rock climbing once a week and go to the occasional frat lodge or apartment party. with my ENFP friends from my old setting, where people, people that know me are always happily surprised to see me at a party. Anyways, I can totally relate to people who say that they have performance anxiety, and that's definitely something I experience when speaking in class or giving a presentation, and that tends to make me talk too fast or not talk with any intonation. And I have gotten better in terms of anxiety, though. So, like, without meaning to, I think a lot about how absurd things are, though, and like how meaningless people's words can be. I think a lot about how I would go about transcending human limitations. So I guess you could call me a transhumanist in that way. One reason I like the neurosciences and science in general is because they are one reason, one way I can think about transcendence without having to get into whether there's a God. I also like movies, books, and music that touch on these themes in a way that I hadn't thought of before. Maybe this is just my introverted thinking, finding faults in myself and humans in general, when there really is a God that made us this way for a reason. But there's no way to objectively say that there is, or to say that there isn't. Um, I dislike using agnostic to describe myself, though, since that implies I don't care or I'm ignorant. Pantheist is something I've thought I might be able to apply to myself. I also don't mind discussing religion with religious people, though, but I do feel like everything on that subject has been said by someone somewhere, and maybe it's not such a important topic. It's the most important topic, but it doesn't seem relevant, especially since there's no way to objectively measure it. I feel like there's a lot of views on many things with four-wing fives that I've known, and it's interesting how we share views. It's been difficult for me, though, to find similarities with others, though I don't overanalyze as much as I used to. Some people say that INTPs they've known were cold, like a friend of mine said that someone who felt suicidal should kill themselves. Survival of the fittest. That just sounds like he was trying to be shocking, or maybe he was a sociopath and believed this, and he had no capacity for shame. But still, I'm baffled by people sometimes and how sociopathic they can be when it's their ass on the line. People are truly difficult. But you see, I generally think it's probably the 9 in my tri-type. I want to genuinely make people happy when I see someone in pain, or even though it's not that easy for me to tell when what someone's feeling. Part of what made me think I was an INFP was that it's hard for me to be detached from feelings and biases but comparatively, I realize that it's much harder for people who are more feelers. Maybe not with everybody, but with some feeling types. I noticed that they just can't debate objectively. Like, they can't debate something like the ethics of euthanizing cats for a psychological experiment in a detached and reasonable way. I don't know. Maybe someday we can all get along. I could see. I'm in addition to like biological neuroscience, I'm also interested in psychology and philosophy of the mind and of other things. I thought about those as minors, but thought that they might be too similar to neuroscience, so I'm probably going with Japanese or Latin. As for possible partners, as in like marriage or dating, I'm generally attracted to the INFPs. No, INTPs or INFJs. And I think the reason for that, well, I think first INTP girls tend to be really classy, and they don't seem as, I don't know, they don't seem quite as needy or quite as, I just like, nothing against INFPs, but I would rather date an INTP or an INFJ. It's hard because INFJs can be so different from case to case. I mean, of course, but I just like the depth of their thinking, as maybe compared to ISFP or ESFP, or even a or even an ENFJ, even though my mom's an ENFJ, and I don't know. With those two types, I just see myself going off the edge into possibilities with in a conversation, and that's something I look for in a partner, as well as obvious things, and exploring some untouched pocket of knowledge in search of the answers to those big questions. And I think that also fours, I've only known about the Enneagram for a few months, but so I haven't been able to apply that schema to all the people I meet. But I think generally fours tend to be great people whose potential for creating and exploring is boundless if they just learn to harness it. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a four. But they do tend to get down on themselves, and I think with me, like, sometimes something triggers it, usually, and I don't know. I think that's all I want to say, but sorry about, might have been more sincere in my other video about things I said, since this is the second time I said it, so I'm sorry if that came across, but wow, it's a long video. Thank you.